and it had all been 10-8, overtime, all this sort of stuff, and then all of a sudden 10-3 coming out. But let's have a look now more closely at our first matchup, Q9 versus Carbon. We'll have a look at the two teams that we do have getting ready. Q9 up first. These are the team that are 1 and 2 currently. Both teams are, in fact, and a loss here would put them on 1 and 3, which is as boss currently sits, so it's not a terrible position for them. I mean, well, it is, but it's not an instant elimination depending on how the other games go, but it's not a great spot to be in.
To be fair, these two teams, they have one distinct advantage, though. They have 2 games where everybody else has 1. So if one of these teams wins here and then wins their second game today, they still have the ability to finish 3 and 2 here.
Which would be quite the turnaround, starting off 1 and 2 to 3 and 2, and that would make getting through and figuring out which teams we have going to playoffs all the more difficult for us, but for these teams, that's certainly what they'll both be looking for. That reverse sweep from 1-2 to 3-2. It's difficult, but it's possible. For Q9, it means wins over Carbon here, and then Boss in our final game of the group stage. And for Carbon, they've got to beat Q9 here, and then Black Dragons later on, which would be no mean feat. That'd be quite difficult for them.
Now we take a quick look at these guys. Over on the side of Q9, though, definitely one of the players I'm going to be keeping my eye on again is going to be Solo. He was such a big clutch player for his team. Unfortunately, with that 1-2 record, the rest of his team didn't seem to step up around him in some of those games. Obviously, we were looking during the break. Zemo, he had the lowest performance overall in a single game that we saw. Only 4 kills in 1 game for him.
And that's a very rough one indeed. That was in their 10-3 against All Gamers. And when you go down 10-3, there's not so much you can do. Sure, none of your team really doing anything at that point, but still unfortunate for him. And looking at this team of Carbon, Famous is one of the players who has had one of the best performances here, getting 26 kills. Admittedly, that was in a game with both overtime and a golden round. That was on Mexico. We have had a few players get that at 26 kill mark in overtime. I think the most kills we've had in a regulation game, there's been a few players on 20.
Yep, nobody getting to that 30 bomb yet, but with some of the games we have today, I could definitely see some overtime 30s coming out here, but honestly, this first one is going to be one of the closer games. I think both of these teams know what this match means. It's essentially their tournament life on the line. If they go down here, they're going to be in a very high risk of not making it into that bracket stage. So both of these teams have got a lot going for them in this one if they can get that first win of the day, and potentially 2 wins for either team here. It could be an even more remarkable day. Potentially to even get a 3rd place standing going into that playoffs would just be a fantastic way for either one of these teams to progress forward after a rough day 1. But the real question in my eyes is, has Carbon prepared after their rough first day? I think looking match for match, Carbon definitely had one of the weakest overall performances that we saw on day 1. Even when Q9 lost, their losses were close. Carbon, they had the widest spreads we saw in the early portions of the day until we had a couple games towards the end. We had a 10-3 and a 10-4, but until that, it was just Carbon's 10-6 and 10-7, sort of the lower ones on the pack there. But we did see that consistent problem of port for them. As soon as they got to Mexico, they definitely looked a lot more comfortable, but we talked to these guys earlier today, and they don't plan on banning port.
No, they don't, which is going to be quite the interesting one for them. They have other maps that they'd rather take away instead, which we will talk about once the veto comes up here in a second. In the meantime, we're not going to spoil it, but not taking away port and choosing to hope that that 33% chance of it coming up doesn't go against them, which, fair enough, they have other maps they want to get rid of more, but hopefully they did have a good chat over the rest of today and all the rest of yesterday, I suppose, as well, about what they want to do if port does come out. Q9 going to ban Mexico. Carbon, it is the sub-base ban, and now they are hoping for not port. Black Widow, okay. Q9 are a team that will have a good time on Black Widow, but at least for Carbon, it's not port. Could be worse.
This is interesting, too, because Q9, they are coming off a 3-10 loss on Black Widow. So Carbon definitely should be seeing this as a good opportunity. It's not port, which is already a great relief, I'm sure, for them. They were hoping for Black Widow or Ankara in this matchup from what they were talking to us about earlier today. So I think this is definitely a confident map for them to potentially get the upset win here. But again, Q9, we can't necessarily count them out. They had to play against AG, one of the strongest teams in this tournament on Black Widow. So it's not to say that Q9 cannot do this here. But Carbon, they definitely have a chance to prove themselves today. They had a very shaky showing, especially on port. But even on Mexico, they only won in a golden round situation. They haven't had a performance I would call dominating yet.
No, they haven't even had a performance we could call clean. They haven't won anything in regulation just yet. And maybe this is their chance to do it. They will be starting out on that blacklist side that we do normally say is the dominant side on this map. We did, of course, have matches yesterday where that wasn't the case, but overall, this does tend to be a map with a bit of an attacking bias, so we'll see if Carbon can get that going. You have to remember that their attacking sides have historically been their weakest. On Mexico, they did struggle in regulation on that attacking side. They finally got it rolling in overtime and into the golden round. They won 3 out of 4 attacking rounds in that situation. But that was pretty much a last-ditch effort from them. They needed to win those rounds. So hopefully for them, they'll be able to avoid some overtime here and get some rounds happening on their attacking side here, up first on Black Widow.
And the interesting thing for me to look at in this matchup is how many AWMs we're going to see in the hands of Carbon. When you play a map like Black Widow, you have a lot of options for lane control with those AWMs. And honestly, I could see the triple setup coming back out for them today.
It's certainly been working. Their 2 top fraggers are their 2 AWM players. We've had a look at the stats over this morning, I guess this afternoon as well. The 2 top fraggers over all the maps they've played for Carbon have been famous, with Kai's only a few kills behind. Certainly a good start for him coming into this lineup, and I suppose playing his first big LAN with them. But let's see how many AWMs they do choose to run and what sort of impact they can have. We've certainly seen Kai's be a very regular impact player with that AWM when he's had it. Famous has had a great amount of damage when he's picked one up as well, but of course a lot of his kills over the last day have been rifle too.
Honestly, on the side of Carbon, I'm looking at the players like Rek, who we didn't see a lot out of day one for them to step up and be able to win this one. Rek, he was one of their biggest presences at the CROSSFIRE Stars finals at the end of last year, where they were able to get 4th place. So he was really one of their key factors there, and he actually used that on most of that tournament. So I'm interested to see if he'll be coming out with it in a triple setup. But obviously, in that last match, we did see Famous favoring it the majority of the game there, and rightfully so. I mean, he was the top fragger of that match, and even Kai's couldn't keep up with him on that one.
So it'll be interesting to see exactly how this one does go, but on the side of Q9, of course, they too are no slouches when it comes to the aim department. It's going to be a difficult thing for Carbon to overcome. Bean has had a very good tournament so far with the AWM of his own, hitting the shots that he needs to, and of course all of these players have had some big clutches. Solo got a massive 1v3 in the 3rd round, I think, of our very first match of the group stages yesterday. So all of Q9, no slouches in the aim department, certainly. So it's going to have to be a bit of an overperformance, I think, here from Carbon in order to get across the line.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Q9, they're going to be in a situation where they know they're going to have to fight all day, but they're a team that's shown that they do have that fight in them, whereas Carbon, like we mentioned before, they've had struggles in every single map they've played so far. But the benefit they have here is we haven't seen them on Black Widow yet, so maybe they've got something in store for us that we're not ready for. Maybe they're just going to come out with a really big win here. I mean, they do have the benefit of AG struggling on Black Widow so far in this event, Q9 struggling on this map in this event, so against AG, that was just unfortunate. I mean, I think they only got 2 rounds on their global risk side, and that is where they're starting here, so
maybe if we can see similar things from Carbon that came out from AG with taking a lot of aggressive pushes, always making sure to move in packs and being able to trade any frags they got, then possibly we can see a similar thing here. I think that would be a little bit too much to call if this one does go the way of Carbon. I have to think it's going to be another 18-rounder, maybe even an overtime sort of situation, but I'm not the expert here, you are. So Kyle, I'll ask you for your prediction.
Honestly, in this one, I'm going to go 10-7 for Q9. I think Q9, they're going to want it even more than Carbon in this situation, and rightfully so. They're looking at this event as an event they were planning on winning. And when they sit at 1-2, I see them as a team that could easily fight back and make themselves 3-2 to close out this day.
I'm inclined to agree with you there. As much as we've been selling the story of Carbon over the last few minutes, it would be incredibly unfair and remiss of us to not give even more props to Q9, who, while they have had a shaky start to this tournament, coming into it were certainly one of the best teams that we were expecting to see. And while they have had a few rough games, they've certainly shown that they're on point individually. So I think for Carbon here, this one might be a little bit too much to ask. I think it's possible, but Q9, the veterans, certainly have a lot of skill. I think it might be a bit too tough for Carbon to overcome, but we'll see once we do jump into this game here on Black Widow. Carbon do have that preferred side starting out, as we said, so got that going for them at least. It's still, I think, a big ask. I think we're looking at Carbon needing, what, like 6-7 rounds here on their attacking side?
Yeah, and honestly, that's my biggest concern for them. Blacklist has always been a struggle, and when you have a map where your Blacklist side really determines how the map plays out, I'm kind of nervous for them. I mean, they had a very weak showing consistently on that Blacklist half. No matter what map it was, even on Mexico, it took them until a golden round to finally show us in that overtime they were able to effectively win those rounds on their Blacklist side.
So worrying signs, perhaps, for the boys from North America. But worrying too for Q9 is the fact they're even in that situation. While they do have, I think, the mental fortitude to be able to fight back into this, they do have the weaker, comparatively, opponents today. Still, it's got to be preying on their minds, the fact that they even got to this situation down 1 and 2, particularly with the destruction that All Gamers dealt them. It's going to be a pretty tough game for both teams, but Q9 most likely going to come out of this one too good. And then if they can grab that win over Boss later on, then they're going to go 3 and 2. They'll be straight back into an incredibly good position, tying with one of All Gamers and Pacific Macta, depending on who wins that game, which we do have up next. And for Carbon, well, if they lose this one, they'll be sitting at 1 and 3, all but out of the competition. If they can grab that win over Black Dragons later on in a decisive manner, then perhaps the round win-loss can start to go their way. But I think it's going to be a very difficult thing for them. And I think we decided earlier that pretty much they need to win versus Q9 to have a decent chance of making it into playoffs. Of course, securing both wins, they're going to be fine. But if they have to win either game, I think this one's going to be very important.
Definitely, and from what we've seen in the past too, that first round win definitely gives you a lot more momentum for the rest of the day. Just looking at yesterday, every team that won in their first round game finished with at least an even record. So that is something important to keep in mind, because all of these teams that have that momentum behind them from that first win are going to be able to carry it through. And especially as these two teams are the only teams that have to play again today, this first win has a lot of importance to it.
Exactly that. This is the final game of our round 4 of the round robin. The other 2 games were played last night. So as you say, Q9 and Carbon have 2 games today. Everyone else only has the 1, as they've already played 4 games yesterday. So does mean that Q9 and Carbon, they've got a little bit more to determine today in terms of their tournament life than everyone else. Also, Famous is having fun, so maybe they're in good spirits. We'll see.
It looks like he may be having some sort of technical issue there. I think he's looking around a little bit concerned here, but hopefully he can get that resolved soon. But it's honestly getting down to the grind time here today. Only 4 games left, and we should have a pretty good idea after that, unless it's just a dead even, a lot of 3-2s and 2-3s, and then there's going to be a lot of math that needs to be done for that to be decided. But honestly, I think we're going to see some pretty decisive wins today. In my eyes, I think Boss may be a team that's already fallen out of this one. They seemed already kind of distraught today coming in. And on top of that, they're going to have a lot of downtime before they actually play. They don't play at all until the very last game today. Whereas Q9, they have this match as a nice one to get warm, get things on point, and really prepare themselves to go into a doubleheader today. So I think Q9 does have a pretty nice advantage in getting to play 2 maps today and closing out the day against Boss, who could come in cold. I mean, they're coming in off of a loss as well from Boss, and it wasn't a good loss either. They didn't have a close fight there. They only put up 4 rounds in our last match of the day. So I think Boss definitely, out of everybody left, has their work cut out for them the most.
Yeah, especially because they're in the team. They're the only team at the moment who is 1 and 3. We'll have one team join them after this match. But the thing for Boss is they're the team coming into this the most helpless in terms of their tournament lives. Both of the teams we have here, Q9 and Carbon, both have 2 games that will determine whether they go through or not. If they can win both or even go 1 apiece, then maybe there's something there for them, right? And then they can hope the head-to-head works out for all the teams who would then be 2 and 3. For Boss, all they can do is come in, win their game, and then hope that the head-to-head works out. Hope that there's a lot of other teams that are also on 2 and 3 that no one's managed to get their way to 3 and 2 and push them out of this tournament.
For Boss right now, they really want to be hoping that either Carbon or Q9, whoever wins this, wins it very, very high score disparity here, because that's the best chance for Boss to stay alive. If someone gets 10-2 or 10-1, there's still a chance that Boss wins in a situation where everybody's 2-3 and someone has a pretty heavy loss on their day here. So Boss, they're technically not out of it just yet. They just need everything to go right for them today to make it happen.
And this is what I was talking about, in that they really don't have that much influence anymore, given that they did play 4 games yesterday and lost 3. they really don't have that much more they can do to actually get themselves through in this tournament. Of course, if they lose their game, then it's all over. If they can't beat Q9, they don't even have a shot. But even if they do beat Q9, say Carbon wins this game and then their next, that would be Carbon going to 3-2. Q9 would be out at 1-4. And then Boss would just have to hope that the head-to-head works out to give them another spot or that other spot that would avoid elimination. So it's going to be tough to figure out. And already, I mean, halfway through that sentence, I was already thinking, am I saying this right? Because there's just so many possible permutations of the way this can go. If we have either of the teams in this game winning both of their games today, they'll go to 3-2. Then we'll have some teams on 2-3, 1-4. I don't even know. It's too hard to figure out. But we're either going to have a bunch of teams on 3-2, one team on 4-1, and then a couple on 1-3 or 1-4. Or we're going to have, what do we say, a 4-1, a 3-2, and 4 2-3s? Something like that.
Yeah, potentially. And honestly, if you're Q9, they don't want that situation of all 2-3s because they have that 3-10 loss. So they're going to get hit really hard when it comes down to round score if they do fall in that situation. So Q9, I honestly think if they don't finish 3-2 today, they're probably not going to make it through to the bracket stage.
Which would be quite the upset.
And only one of these teams has to do it, too. I mean, they've got two opportunities to fall today, either Carbon or Boss. However, Carbon and Boss are right there with them towards the bottom of the pack here, so it's not to say it can't be done from Q9. These are both teams that they could definitely beat, but it looks like we may just be ready to hop in here now with our first game of the day, but everybody's ready to go, it looks like, and we're going to go right into it here. Black Widow as our first map to kick it off today. Still no Ankara, but maybe we'll see it later on here, but Black Widow, definitely still a fun one to get it started on.
That's what we're waiting for right there. The red lights that mean it's game time. We'll be jumping into Black Widow very, very shortly here. Carbon on that Blacklist side. Blacklist on Black Widow. Hopefully they can get something happening here. I just realized those chances might be. I thought they might be.
I don't think it was intentional, but
I feel like they're happening at a very similar point in the song every time. They might actually be timing it. That'd be cool. Either way, into the game we go. Carbon on that attacking side need to have a good start here. Need to get themselves into this one with that first round. They need to do it decisively as well. They need to not let Q9 have any momentum here.
Starting it off, we are going to see a very safe setup from Carbon here as well. Early on here, we do have Kai's looking for that mid pick. Can't seem to find anything just yet, but he's going to be easing almost a little bit too close for comfort here to those mid double doors. Zemo, though, going to be already positioned here in the lower B connector, just waiting for somebody to potentially peek out on top of this B bridge. But Kai's, he's still going to be working aggressively here. He might have a chance to run right into him here. He has to check that corner, but he's actually not going to go for the wide peek there. Probably a smart decision. Doesn't want to challenge that AK with that ominous hands, that close quarters of a fight. He'd probably fall in, but Carbon, they're already going to be working their way up catwalk here. And we'll see if the response comes in nicely from Q9, but it looks like they're going to fall back here.
Superman has been tagged down very slightly. Still looking for the first kill, and Yaze's already on a bit of a flank. He's found his way up through catwalk. This could be a bit of a difficult situation here for Carbon. Yaze comes in, mows down 2. He's going to get 3 as well. Kai's eventually trades it, but the flanks were not being held at all. Zemo's got 1, and it's all onto Kai's. He's got that AK-47 in his hands, and he's found that first frag, looking for more. But he's in a 1v3, and Solo's going to take it down. And Carbon, you can't leave your flanks open like that. That's a bit of a misplay from them.
Definitely a big misplay. If one player even was watching their back there, they definitely wouldn't have lost 3 players like they did. So Carbon, they just have to be playing a little bit safer in these situations on the push. They can't leave their flank exposed because Q9, as you've seen right there, they will flank when that opportunity arises. Right now, though, it's going to be a 1-0 start for Q9. Definitely what they wanted here, especially being on the global risk side. Not generally a side where the winning half goes your way, but if you're Q9, they definitely want to take both halves in this one to have a confident start to their day.
Slower player coming in from Carbon on that attacking side. Got some information out through long with Superman. A couple of players told me, a couple moving back through the blacklist spawn. You can already see what that flank's done to them. They refuse to all commit as 5 anywhere. The last round at this point, a minute in, they're already pretty much all the way up cat and being flanked out. Now they go much slower. They're hoping that Q9 will make the mistake and flank into them, but Q9 know better than that. They know exactly what getting that free flank means and how Carbon will be watching for it again. This time going for a short, heavy play, and it's incredibly heavy A stack. In fact, 4 players here, 3 on Catwalk. Not going to spot anything just yet. And Carbon look like they want to go towards B. This is the correct read if they make it. But in the meantime, Q9 taking control of the Catwalk.
Definitely a great positioning for Carbon if they do decide to go onto this B bomb site. And Famous, he's already starting to clear up towards box room, but this is when Q9, they're going to start to get a bit antsy. And Brando, he's already spotted a couple players there trying to push out of Cat. This is where they need to be careful. This quick flank could come through. They definitely don't want to sit here on the B bridge too long. And Yaze, he's already rotated back into sight. Zemo on the way as well. And Carbon, again, just taking too long here, giving up their position.
That's a really good read from Q9 there as well. They don't hear anything getting all the way up through short A. They even clear mid. So they rotate through into that B-bomb side. Superman's found the 1 kill over on A, but it's not going to pull anyone from Q9 away here. The push from Carbon is going to go straight into the Shredder. Superman's done well finding another kill, but now they wait and they strike. 1 trade comes through from Wreck. It's down to that 2 versus 2, but 15 seconds. There's no time. Yaze's got another one. It's all down to Superman. 1 versus 2. Through the smoke he goes. And Q9 showing no fear, getting aggressive, finding the info, calling the rotations. And Carbon once again looking a bit lost on their blacklist side.
And they had such a key opening there from Superman as well. He found 2 picks on his force play over on that fake A, and they couldn't find a single entry there until it was too late. But Famous gets a big double kill to start this one off. Both B players already going down for Q9, and now they're going to force their way in aggressively. Finally, Carbon, knowing that they need to be aggressive early on against this team. Rek finds himself another one. Solo goes down, but ZZHY is already here to try and find himself an answer. He's lit up, though. He's going to go down. Brando takes him out on the double doors, and Superman cleans this one up, and finally Carbon finds something to go right for themselves.
It's a pretty early round, all things considered, to come back and win, given how dominant the first 2 rounds for Q9 were. That'll stop that momentum from the Chinese side relatively early. Give Carbon a vital way back into things, not only in terms of the score, but also in terms of the mentality. Getting that win that relatively cleanly, to be able to say to themselves, yes, we can beat these guys. They did kind of ruin us the first couple rounds, but we're not out of this yet. We're not out of this tournament just yet. See if Carbon can continue this form going in. Rex already clearing out up towards Catwalk, and it will be a bit of an A committal here. Kaiser's found his way all the way up long, and here comes the frags. The trades work out well, brings into a 4 versus 3 with the A site under blacklist control.
Carbon now in a great position, but they do want to be careful here. Yaze has been on point in this entire match so far. Definitely not someone you want to give up a clutch opportunity to. And Superman, he's already going to be facing some trouble here on the back of Cat. He has no support here as well nearby. He's just trying to frag out at this point. He's going to run straight into that flashbang. Somehow secures the shot, though, barely connecting the spray at the last minute. Famous finds 1 as well, and it's Yaze left in a 1v4. Potential for the clutch here. He grabs 2, almost gets the 3rd, but Famous just a little bit quicker on the draw there. He'll finish him off, and just like that, we're already at a tie, 2-2.
Much, much better from Carbon now. Going a bit faster. That's a very important thing for them here. If they do go that bit faster, pick up the pace, then they're not leaving the opportunity. That's another grenade we've seen missed from Carbon here, but they're not going to give Q9 the opportunity to flank as quickly if they do move faster themselves, and they've forced Q9 into a more passive setup. 2-1-2. 2 on each bomb site. 1 holding towards mid. See what Carbon chooses to do with it. For now, a bit of info spotted out towards B. Coming up Catwalk, and Solo's very close here. About that 2 players peeking into him. Awkward engagement. Solo's committing on this and will push them back. Won't be able to find the frag, but he forces them away, and that information will help.
And now we have the support coming in as well. ZZHY working his way up, but Famous finds the entry. ZZHY trying to hold it off, but it's not enough. It's a 2-for-1 trade, and Carbon now have a nice numbers advantage to work with here. Bean going to be playing safe here on A, waiting for his rotations to come through, but Rex spots the flank, and that's the preparation they needed in this round, not letting that flank get behind them early. And now it's a 4v2. Carbon reading the situation quite well. Kai's now still looking for a pick here as the rest of his team looks to be rotating over towards B. But Kai's, he's going to have that information if these guys fall off here and rotate over to B early. Kai's still going to be playing on Catwalk, but the rest of Carbon ready to push onto this B bomb site.
Zemo's over here and waiting, but he's going to get overrun. Leaves it all up to Bean now. The AWM player can't get anything done. Brando comes in with a headshot. That's another great round from Carbon. Something else I want to point out as well. How many times have we seen Kai's just charging in an entry fragging with a pistol? Feels like every single time his team loses a player, he's very happy to run in there with that Colt and just trade it out immediately.
Yeah, he's very comfortable with it, and rightfully so. He's been playing well throughout the event so far. But again, we do see Famous towards the top here, but actually Superman leading the charge here for Carbon so far, and they're going to be going for an aggressive B. Once again, Bean gets the collateral, though. That's a huge shutdown frag from him. Superman does manage to find one. Yaze can't hold on, though, and it's still going to be a 2-on-3 winnable for Carbon, especially having Famous and Kai's left to try and work their magic in this situation. But Bean, he's still close by, but he's going to be in a really tight corner here. The bomb's still not planted yet.
Bit of time now for Carbon to slow things down. Try and find themselves a kill, and Famous will commit out for it. That's what they needed. That will give them the space to get this bomb down. Now that they've brought this back into an even situation. Makes sense at this point, or at that point I should say. It's been by, but to go for that kill. Try and find an opening. That means you won't get overrun as soon as they hear that bomb hitting the floor, but Kai's and Famous now. Potential to bring this one back. Bean's still hanging out at the window. Solo just locking down the rotation. Actually, Kai's going to commit straight up for it with the pistol, but Bean's ready with the Desert Eagle of his own. And that leaves it all to Famous 1 versus 2. He actually goes out and finds a headshot. He's made this one a bit more doable now, but will he manage to find out where Solo's playing from? A minute left. He's going to go for this bomb plant. Solo hasn't made any noise yet. I thought he was going to throw that grenade in, but Famous is already pushing the issue. He's out and behind him. Has missed the time, but Solo gets himself away. There should be a clutch that can come through, but no! Solo just grabs the shot. Famous, a valiant effort. The read was perfect, but the shot was not quite there.
Definitely a close round here, but unfortunately Famous not able to win that 1v1 solo. A very difficult player to go up in a clutch situation against. Now it is going to be even here, 3-3, but Q9 definitely having some struggles so far on their global risk half. It's honestly really just been Yaze fragging out for them so far. They definitely need to step it up as a team, but Carbon, they've decided to go aggressive once again. This time it's going to be over towards this A bomb site. They send 3 players for A long control, keeping Kai's in mid. He definitely wants to be careful there. Solo going to be wide peeking there on the double doors. Doesn't find any connection though. They do just have a nice passive setup. This time though, they still have Rec watching the flank, and that's a nice adjustment that they should continue forward to hold.
We'll give them a bit of information. Already the B-side players are through and pushing into lower mid. This could be a little bit dangerous for Carbon if I don't figure this one out, but for now no one's really in danger. We're actually rotating back in through mid.
The important thing here too is the A bomb side is actually completely exposed from long, so if Carbon senses this quickly, they could actually get a nice rotation into this A bomb site before they're able to react quickly enough. Every player on A is going to be pushed all the way up catwalk here for Q9, so Carbon, if they don't take this fight, it might be a better opportunity for them. These 2 A-long players, though, not really going to be pushing for too much information just yet. They're just going to funnel into mid, and this could be a huge mistake because Q9, they are ready and waiting in mid. They have 3 players nearby, but Brando, he's going to trade out that frag, takes down Solo. Still a 4v4, but the bomb now going to be working up long A. Kai's making that smart decision to push into this clear site, and now it's just going to be ZZHY, the only one nearby to support this. But Kai's, he already has control of A.
The flank is coming in through the blacklist spawn there from those B players that did push earlier, but this is a good decision from Carbon to finally push up here, catch out this bomb side, and Bean, that's a rare miss. He's not been missing the sitters, and he will be giving that one to Famous there. The headshot is found. Zemo out long. Will go down though to Superman. Good hold. Now into the 3 versus 3. Bomb very freshly planted though, so lots of time for Q9 to come in and retake this one. Thought that was a shot that was connected, but not quite. The grenade goes out onto Bean. Will slow him down, but actually doesn't do that much damage. Superman, though, does grab the 1 kill. Kai's comes through onto Bean. Leaves it all up. ZZHY, and he will go down to Kai's. A double frag coming out for him.
Fantastic play from Carbon there in that round, and now already this is more rounds than they had in both port maps combined on their blacklist half, so definitely a nice redemption for Carbon here so far in day 2, but it's not over yet. Still 2 rounds left in the half. They could fall in this half, but Q9 again struggling on Black Widow. Carbon, they're starting to pull ahead here now. They're going to be charging again onto this B bomb site. Yaze, the top fragger for his team. Can he hold on? But Bean, he actually finds the opener here, make it a double kill. So far, looking good for Q9 to potentially hold on, but Superman is in a very tight spot here. He's going to go down. ZZHY gets the double. It's Brando left in a 1v3. We'll see if he can make it happen. Doesn't look too likely, though. Gets peeked by Zemo, and just like that, it's going to be 4-4 going into our final round of the half.
It's a near thing for Carbon, but they run straight into the crouching AWM of Bean, who does grab the 2 frag. It's all too easy. Now the early pressure comes out towards A Long. And go through these smoke grenades and might actually get around here quickly. Solo is waiting for this boost play to come out though. Re-scoped on it. If they do go around that corner, it's going to be instant player loss. Speaking of Solo, he's in that second AWM. I believe it's the first time that Q9 have brought out 2 in this map. And one of the only times they've really brought out 2 this tournament. They haven't done too much of it, but they go for it now to try and secure this 5th round, to give themselves a good lead going into what is the preferred side here. But for Carbon, their defensive sides have actually been their best sides by a considerable margin so far at this event. So if they can grab this 5th round and get a bit of a roll on, then maybe there's a chance for them going into their second half.
And Carbon, they had a really key importance in this first portion of the round. Superman, he went for the jiggle peek A long, and he knows anytime they play 1 player forward A long, that Q9 have been playing 2 players on A, so they know that these A players are going to be a bit more forward. But Superman, again, finding the entries here. He's already at 10 for Carbon here just in the first half. And they're going to go ahead and force the issue on A. Solo goes down as well. Rec picking up that one. It's going to be a 3v5 retake already, but Carbon still continuing to steamroll their way in. Yaze manages to find one on the flank, but still may not be enough here. 2v4 now as the bomb goes down.
And they're already forcing the issue back out towards Yaze. They will actually grab both frags just like that. So it's 5-4. Carbon maintain a slim lead. It's not as many perhaps they would have wanted on their attacking side, but it's an attacking side win, and those have been far and few between for Carbon so far this tournament.
Yeah, and it's a really interesting situation now because Carbon, they're a team that's very global risk sided, and having won that half basically means all they have to do is get 5 more rounds here, and for them that's been not too difficult here on their global risk half. I mean, I think that's the worst they've had is a 5-4 half on their global risk side, even on a loss.
They've had 5-4-6-3s pretty much.
So honestly, Q9, they got to be a little bit nervous going into this one. Obviously, it is a blacklist-sided map, so Q9 has that potential for a strong 6-3 or 7-2 half out of themselves, and all they really need is 6 rounds here, so it is still possible for Q9 to take this one away. Carbon, they can't let it slip here, but they do have a nice lead as we get back into it.
And they're going to take some aggressive A-long presence. Might actually just leave Superman here, and this is something we saw a fair bit out of teams yesterday. Using 3 or 4 players to get control of A-long, then establishing a player down, holding that. Just Superman holding it solid this time. This gives them a lot of freedom to rotate elsewhere on the map. You can see they've immediately sent one of their A players over into mid, and this allows them to run the 2-1-2 without fear of being pinched on from long, because they will get Superman to get that info early as well. So, decent info early for Carbon. Trying to find out exactly where Q9 are going, hoping they can force the issue, but for their part, Q9, their first round here on the blacklist side. Going relatively slowly, clearing things out, moving together, and they will go straight in through the spawn and lock down Famous. That's an excellent start.
Rec finds one, but still Q9, they're in a great position as they collapse over towards this B bomb site. The over-rotation came through in Carbon, and they potentially fall on this one. They weren't ready for that mid to B play coming out from ZZHY, just still holding on to this mid position. And he is taken away. Carbon, definitely going to be a tough situation for this retake. Kai is already down to about half HP. He tries to force the issue out of mid here, but it's just not going to happen. Superman, though, he's in a 1v4, finds himself one on to Solo, but now on just half HP, not a very likely clutch to go his way. 15 seconds on the clock. He's just going to force his way in and try and do what he can here. Bean not going to take any damage, though, but that spray was actually pretty close to on point, but it's not going to matter. He's taken down from the double doors, and just like that, it's tied once again.
The early setup there was good from Carbon, but Q9 do one better, finding the gap, dropping in and getting rid of that spawn player. From there, able to just crunch in onto that B bomb site. Now it looks like a little bit of pressure towards A-long from Q9, but not going to commit to it. Default established though for Carbon. Same thing as last round, they're going to establish Superman here. Leave him alone to help lock this one down, and for Q9, filling out this map as well. The bomb not really committed anywhere just yet. While they do send players up into short. Try and find out someone on the catwalk. Hoping to catch someone getting aggressive on the side of Carbon, which they shouldn't be doing, but still have to be careful of that mid to B wrap.
And I like this adjustment as well from Carbon. Famous, he had a big struggle in that first round here, so they're going to have Rec sniping in mid, and they put Famous on A with an AK, so a definite adjustment that they noticed there. They needed to adapt to the way Q9 was playing, and Rec, he's definitely a strong passive sniper for their team, so I like this adjustment. Famous, he knows it's not working, he's not feeling it, so he picks up that AK. Right now, though, Q9, they're going to be testing the waters here over towards B to potentially find themselves a pick. They've got 3 players over here now. Brando, though, Just going to be playing safe just outside the box room here, waiting for someone to potentially peek, but they do have Rek now playing in the windows as well. So they have a pretty safe setup here, so Q9, they're going to have to get aggressive if they want to take control of this map.
And just a minute left to do it with as well, so Q9, soon will be the time to get a move on. So right now, still waiting around and hoping that someone from Carbon's going to make a mistake and give them a frag. It could almost be given towards mid. Instead, it's Famous, though, to grab that open. On the AK, he's already obviously feeling a lot better here. Zemo's going to get flashed out into that B-bomb site. Spots out Brando, but the frag's now going the way of Carbon. They've already found 3. Zemo's trying to make something work over here on B, but it's him and now just being left, and in fact, it is Famous shutting it down. The rifle working much better for him than that sniper.
Definitely, and he was kind of the reason they lost the opening round, but now he swings back full storm, 4 kills in the second round, and now Carbon, they're back in the lead, 6-5, slowly but surely holding Q9 away from this potential win. Now we're going to see another engage over towards A-Long. Q9, though, finally wanting to challenge this and not give Carbon control of this A-Long position, but so far Superman gets a big double kill. The answer comes right back, though. 2 players fall for Carbon, Superman and Famous already down and out, so Q9, they still want to try and force control here of A-Long, and so far, they're able to make that happen. They have it now, but still, Kais is going to be playing on the back of A here, waiting for them to potentially peek out, but he's going to be playing a safe position there, playing on top of those pegs, so he can't be spotted from A-Long. But Q9, they're actually going to rotate back into mid. They're looking for a pick from Bean, potentially, before they decide to go in, but Brando, he's rotated out to a little bit more of aggressive position here outside of B.
See if this is going to work for him or if he will be caught off. Spots out the first player but can't find it. Bean is ready. And that puts an awful lot of pressure now on the remaining members of Carbon. The B-bomb site is open here. Rek looking for something with the AWM, but he's not going to find too much here. Surely. Cross will be smoked as well. He's going to go in and fight with this Colt. This is very gutsy from him. But through the edge of the smoke and drops the bomb planter and gets out. That's an excellent play from Rek. Brings this one back into a more even situation. 2 versus 2.
And that's a great read from Rek as well. Normally when people plant in that position, they leave everybody else box room, so they know they have to recross to recover the bomb, but it's actually already happened quite quickly. Zemo, he was very fast to get in there and take care of it. He's already out in spawn as well, going for the fight, and Kais, he's going to be trapped here. He has to get out as fast as he can. He gets the shot, though. What a reaction shot. Zemo, he's left alone in a 1v2. All Rek needs to do is get in quickly for the support here so they can trade Kais. He's just going to be playing with the time here, waiting for the rotation from his teammate, but Rek, he's now in position here, but Kais peeks anyways, again being the Colt Wizard for his team today. And that is a big round for Carbon. Q9 making a lot of mistakes, though, on that B execution.
Very much so. That was a round that could have fallen away from Q9, or from Carbon, I should say, given that Brando did get aggressive early on and did get caught out, but already the pressure into A-Long. Yaze's going to find Superman. Famous here, can't get away, has to face. Will find that first headshot nice and quickly, looking for another, but Bean jumps in with the AWM and trades it out. Now down to a 4 versus 3. Couple picks going the way of Q9 A-Long. They immediately fall off it. Kais, though, aggresses down through the catwalk and catches out Zemo. Looking for another here, potentially. Not going to find it, but once again, it's an individual play from Carbon that brings it back to an even situation.
And again, we see the last-minute push here towards this B-bomb site coming out, and Kais finds himself another one. It's going to be a 3-on-2 now. Again, Q9 having some difficulty here towards this B-bomb site now. They're going to try and sneak their way in, but Yaze, he is very nervous to even make it out of this box room here and cross onto site. They do already have Brando here as well, playing in from the B window, but he actually rotates out at probably the worst time he could there. They're going to be right in front of him now. He has to be careful. ZZHY goes for the peek, but Brando, smart decision, just jumps right out of there. Doesn't want to take the fight. The bomb will get planted this time around. However, it is going to be a 3-on-2 advantage for Carbon here on the retake.
Hopefully now a situation that they can convert. Going for the double flank here and one player coming in through B doors. The man advantage should be around. They can convert, and they're going for the distraction play, trying to pinch 2 players in on ZZHY. He will hit a lovely one-tap there and almost gets a spray through. He does do it as well. That's unfortunate for Carbon that they can't get it done. They try to pinch in, but it doesn't work. And that's a massive round for Q9 to steal back.
And a much-needed one at that. It's going to get them one step closer to potentially bringing this one to a tie here. One more and it'll be 7-7. But Carbon, they still comfortably have a lead here. 3 rounds away from closing out this map, but they do have to be careful here. No contest over towards A-Long. They do catch Bean off guard, though, just sitting for that box pick. Superman just trying to clear all of his corners here just in case someone else is lurking behind this long box, but it's not going to be happening. The rest of the team is already rotated off for Q9 over here towards B, but again, Carbon doing a great job of finding these opening picks, and on a map like this, that's very important.
Look at this from Carbon as well. I love that they're showing no fear here. This is something that was so sorely missing from them yesterday, is that they were not feeling the confidence to make these individual plays. This time we've already seen it, whether it's Rek going in and dropping the bomb planner immediately. It's Kai's in that 3 versus 4, going down through short, looking for that pick. They're doing really well at actually saying, all right, we're in a disadvantaged situation, or even we're in a situation which could be better there. They make the play through A long. Q9 were not expecting both players to come that way, and this sort of individual confidence from Carbon is the sort of thing that can win them this game. Actually looking to force the issue, play this on their own terms and not just try and beat Q9 at their own game.
Interesting strategy as well. Now that they have a huge advantage, they're just going to wrap around the map all together in a clump of 4. Kind of a tough one to do, but they do have 4 AKs now. Definitely smart to drop that sniper if you are going to be playing in a weird little clump. If you're too close together, though, they do leave the opportunity for some spray downs to get multiple players off the table for Q9, but Q9, they have control of this A bomb site, and again, they do have a chance to set up a post-plant situation that could be quite favorable for themselves. Carbon, though, they had 3-on-2 last time. It wasn't successful. Hopefully, they can make it happen with a 4-on-2, but they still want to be careful. Yaze going to be already in a position to get caught, but no one can seem to get him just yet. Finally, Rek comes through with the trade, and it is going to be a 3v1. And now we see Zemo here in a 1-on-3 situation here. 0 frags for himself in this half so far. Now would be the moment for him to step it up and make something happen here for Q9 to try and pull this to a tie. Finds the first frag still. He's looking for more. 15 seconds, and Carbon have no choice. They've got to go for the double push here, but they will take him down. And that's going to make this one 8-6.
I love that play from Carbon there to actually take it on themselves to make something happen. They get that first frag, and in that situation, sure, you're up in a 5 versus 4, or even a 4v4. You could just sit back, play 2-2 on your bomb sites and let them come to you, but instead they push out through A along with 2 players, grab that double frag, and even from there, decide to group up and run around as a unit. And while they do give up both bomb sites while doing that, they guarantee that if they run into the Q9 players transitioning, they're pretty much guaranteed to get both those kills with double their numbers. Each player just has to go 1 for 1 or even 0 for 1 as long as their teammates there to back them up. So Carbon looking a lot more organized now. They actually look like they have a bit more faith in each other as well, which is really good to see.
Carbon, though, making a smart utility play. They throw the utility like they're going to have Superman cross A long this round, but they actually use everybody else mid and B and give up A. This is a smart decision because Q9, they're going to think that Superman is still in this position playing A long, but he's actually pushed up Cat. And this is going to be a great play from them if they can actually make this happen. They've got Famous on Cat with him as well. However, they could run into some trouble soon. Q9, we've got 2 players here shifting up. Superman going for the wide swing, though. He's going to run into trouble. ZZHY there, but Famous gets the double kill to trade it out. Yaze makes it even, though, 3-on-3.
Look at the positioning of Bean, too. He hasn't moved this entire round. Even though Superman has fallen, that gives away that Superman won't be at long. He still was sitting there in that spawn, alternating between watching down mid and watching the A long push. Couldn't give it up. Couldn't afford to give it up. Too worried about that flank coming through like it did last round. It won't be the case, but on your defending side, you've really only got to do that once to make the attacking team afraid of it for the next 3 or 4 rounds, really. It didn't happen this time, but Q9, they've still got to have that in the back of their heads going forward, unless, or in case Carbon decide to run it again. For now, though, it will be, with 45 seconds remaining, the 3 players committing into that B bomb site, where only Rek is waiting at the moment, but he's playing a very strong AWM position.
Bean looking for the potential challenge here. Rek has spotted him, but won't be able to connect just yet. Bean just patiently waiting for Rek to make a mistake here, but still Q9, they haven't had a chance to plant, but they actually do successfully sneak by and get it down now. It is going to be all about the response, and Carbon, they've had some struggles on their B bomb site retakes, so now more than ever, they need to be on point with this one. Brando will be right outside the double doors. He's ready to just flashbang his way in here, but it is going to be Kai's up in there as well. They're all going to go through the double doors together. Rek finds the first with the Colt. But Brando, he's got to find one here, gets the first here. It's just on Bean in a 1v2. They may just stick the defuse in this one. It is going to be the defuse actually being stuck already. Brando just going to stall here, and that's the round. 9-6. Just not enough time to make that play happen in the 1v2.
I love how as soon as the round ends, just players stop fighting. Like, yeah, it's done. Whatever. We're finished. Just immediately fall out of it. But it doesn't matter. It's now Carbon on map points. We were talking about this beforehand and talking about if they can get one win in one of their games, and it wasn't this game. They needed to get at least 8 rounds here, I think, to keep their win-loss. They've got 9, so they've done well, and now Q9 have changed things up. They're going for a very aggressive mid to B split. They found one frag, but Famous answers back with a quick headshot. 4 versus 3, though, as Bean 2 gets involved. And now Superman spraying away, can't get it done into a 2 versus 4. 3 players, incredibly low indeed, so it's doable for Kai's and Famous, but not going to be an easy round for them at all. Especially with Kai's still stuck in the AWM. No rifle for him just yet. Famous is going to fall as well. It's all under Kai's, the new recruit. He's had a great event so far in this AWM, but I think it's going to be too much. He's just going to get sprayed straight down through the smoke. So Q9, they stay alive for at least one more round.
And now the question for Carbon is, can they have a win in regulation finally? It would be their first here in regulation, only winning 1 map in a golden round so far, but Q9 going for another aggressive play. This time they're going to be going on to B. They know Rek and Brando consistently play here, so it's a smart decision to put pressure on these players, but Brando, he steps up to the plate, finds one onto Yaze. It's already a 5v4. Carbon with a chance to close this one out. Rek finding another as he trades it out onto Solo. Brando falling in that exchange, but it's still a 4-on-3. The bomb going to go down, and now it's going to be a 4-on-3 retake. We do see Superman already on the long flank here, wrapping all the way around B. He's going to have some support in Rek coming from Connector as well. We'll see if they catch on. That nade's going to give it away, but Superman, he catches one from the pillars. It's going to be another player going down for Q9. It's ZZHY, Bean, and Zemo left. It's do or die for them. This could be a 10-7 for Carbon, but Bean, he's found one. Superman gets the trade. It's all on Zemo in a 1v3. Q9, potentially their tournament life on the line. It's all over, 10-7, and Carbon takes the win here, and Q9, they fall to 1-3, but Carbon, this is complete redemption for them. They started off 0-2 as the lowest rated team in the event, and now they're all the way back up to 2-2, and they take down Q9.
And that's a very big scalp to claim. Q9 now joining Boss on 1 win and 3 losses. Not looking good for them. They've got to fight back into this one, and now if Q9 can grab their next win, that will completely eliminate Boss, putting them on 1-4, but Q9 will be on 2-3, potentially joining either Black Dragons or Carbon, depending on how these games go, if they can get the wins across. But Carbon, nonetheless, they've started off the right way in terms of getting back into this tournament. They've got themselves their first win in regulation, their first decisive win as well, and it comes at the hands of an excellent game on Black Widow. All of their players really performing as well. That wasn't really a massive overperformance from any 1 or 2 players. They were all getting involved, all getting the frags, and that was a great game from them. And Q9, they think he'll be missing.
And now Carbon, they find themselves in an incredible position to where if they win their game against Black Dragons, they're going to be guaranteed a spot in that bracket stage, with 2 teams already being 1-3 now. So the 2-3s still could happen if Carbon falls to Black Dragons, but it would actually make Black Dragons 3-2 in that situation. So now it is, I think, technically impossible for 4 teams to finish 2-3.
Which, look, I'm going to trust your maths on that because I'm not exactly sure how it works, but it's going to be an interesting one, I think, to see how it plays out. Let's look at these results to remind myself exactly what we've got going on. Yes, at the moment, with stage 4 completed, actually, we can do a quick refresher for those who have missed it. Q9 sit at 1-3, Black Dragons 2-2, Boss 1-3, All Gamers and Pacific Max are both on 3-1, and Carbon now freshly on 2 apiece. So at the moment, we're looking like Q9 and Boss as the bottom seeds, although both have 1 more game to play. Actually, everyone has 1 more game to play today, but I mean, it's going to be interesting. Our next game is All Gamers versus Pacific Macto, which is essentially a seeding game. These are the 2 teams that currently sit at 3-1, both guaranteed a spot essentially in the next stage. 1 team will go to 4-1, 1 team will fall to 3-2, but it's just a seeding match at this point. It determines whether you play 4th seed or 3rd seed in your semi-final, which is best of 3, so it'll be a fun one, I think.
And right now it's a position 2 where that 4th seed could be Q9 here now. They have to finish 2-3 to maybe have a chance, but even then it could be too little too late with already having Black Dragons and Carbon 2-2. Both of them just need 1 win. However, Black Dragons and Carbon do face each other, so one of those teams is going to fall to 2-3, and we do have both 1 and 3 teams facing each other as well, so one of them will become 2-3, so we are going to have a tie on win-loss for that 4th spot no matter what happens. So we'll see who wins it out, but guys, we are going to take a break, and we'll be back with our next match shortly.